Hello everyone and welcome back. This is Debbie from Stampin Squirrels, Squirrel 1 here. And today I'm going to show you how to make this really great split fold card. Super simple, you don't need very many components to do it, but you do need to have a piece of 12 by 12 cardstock. So let's crack on and I'll show you how to make this really super card. So to start with, you're going to need a piece of card that's 11 5/8 by 8, and the reason being is because you will make two cards out of this. Can you see how I've opened that card up? So when you cut it, it seems like a lot of card, but actually you're going to make two card bases, so you might as well make two cards at the same time. So 11 5/8 by 8 inches, and we're going to score and cut this in a moment. Then you also need a piece of DSP, which is 5 5/8 by 3 7/8, and we're going to cut this as well in a moment. And then for the inside of the card, where you write your greeting and stamp your sentiment if you want to, then you need a, and that measures 3 7/8 by 5 5/8. And then on top of that, you just need some sort of scrap card, white and corresponding colours, and just a piece of scrap. You will hardly need any DSP, just because we're going to punch out some flowers for the front of the card, as you can see here. So let's get started. Let's start with the card base. That's the most complex cut really. So you need to have your trimmer handy, and you're going to do some scoring and some cutting. So on the long side, you're going to score at 5 3/4. Pop that down, make sure it's the score blade. Score at 5 3/4, and then you're going to flip that up and you're going to score on the short side at 4 inches. Make sure it's the score and score at 4 inches. Right, here comes the complex part, because it's a long piece of cardstock and it's longer than your trimmer. So there's a little bit of argy-bargy to sort of get this cut in the right way, because what you actually have to do is you have to line up the top of your card, the top right of your card. Let me just make sure I'm cutting that right. Top right to bottom left. But you have to line it up with your cutting line. And that's quite difficult because your cut tool will not go all the way up and down. So you're going to have to do a little bit of shifting. So my recommendation is that you line it up as best that you can, and when you're happy that it's on the cut line, go as far as you possibly can with the cut, okay? Lift it back up. You can see that it just needs a little bit of coaxing. I'm just going to take my scissors and just snip that, just hanging on by a thread. There we go. And then I'm going to just turn it round, and I can more or less line this up now with the line and the bottom of my cardstock. Excellent. And then when I lift it up, what you've got is you've got two cards essentially. So I'm just going to just move that to one side for a moment so I can just show you what's happened. So you've got two cards, two card bases, yeah, and here's the fold line here. I'm going to hold this up and hope that you can see it. Can you see the fold line here? And then there's another fold line just here as well. And I'm going to take my bone folder, which has now fell in my bag, and I'm just going to pull this one down. Make sure you line it up so you're happy with it at the bottom and at the side. Give that a good burnish, and then turn this one over as well. Now, what you might find is that it's not absolutely equal, and this does sometimes happen because obviously unless you've got a gigantic scoreboard or a trimmer, you're not always going to get it accurate. But I found on the whole It is, and I've been pretty pleased with the outcome. So just give it a go. There. And then what you end up with is 2 card bases. Okay, so put those to one side, because the next thing you're going to do is you're going to trim the DSP as well. So here's your piece of DSP. This will only be enough for 1 card, so if you were making both cards at the same time, you'd need to cut 2, and you may wish to cut them in 2 different pieces of DSP not corresponding, because when you cut this, the front of the card will be the same DSP on the front of both flaps, but on my one I have mixed it up a bit. So for the purpose of showing you, I'm going to do the same, but if you wanted to mix it up, cut another piece of DSP at a different colour entirely, and then you could have a contrasting piece of DSP on the front. So your DSP is 5 by 5/8 by 3 by 7/8, and you're going to cut top left this time down to the bottom right, and you shouldn't have any problems lining it up, because obviously it's a much smaller piece of DSP. Like that, cut it, and then what you have is you have your 2 pieces. So if I bring back the cardstock that we've just cut, this bit's going to go on here like so, and then this bit's going to go on here like so. Okay, so it's going to be the same. Let's pop that away. So let's bring back our cardstock. So we've got our card base, which is now cut. So I'm just going to burnish those folds again and make sure they're really nice and flat. And there's the card. And now you've got your 2 cut pieces of DSP, and what you can do is just go ahead and mat those up and stick them down. So I'm going to use some Stampin' Seal just to pop those on. Okay, so that's the card. I'm going to stick the white card on the inside and just stick that down. And that's the basis of the card, really super simple. So like I said, you could make 2 at a time. So I'm going to decorate this now, and what I'm going to use to decorate it is the lovely Hippo Happiness. Loving this stamp set and matching dies, not just because of the stamp set, but also the dies themselves. The dies are absolutely fantastic that you get with this set. So many great kind of layering dies which you can use for sentiments. So I'm going to use these 2 in order to do my sentiments for this one. And I'm going to cut 1 out in white. I'm going to cut 1 out in white like that. I'm going to cut 1, and this one's in garden green, like that. So really great for layering, like so. And as usual, what I would say is stamp the greeting first before you actually cut it out, but for the purpose of the video, I'm just going to stamp it. And so what I've chosen is a different stamp set. I've chosen the word friend. That's great. And if I bring back my previous card, what you can see is that I've only stuck that sentiment down onto this half. Otherwise, if you stuck it across, you wouldn't be able to open the card. So I'm just going to pop this onto some dimensionals. Now if I bring my card back, what I might do this time is have it so that the friend goes up. And so you have to remember that you can only put dimensionals or glue on this side of the flap, like that. So I'm going to put mine on dimensionals again. There. So now I'm going to decorate it, and the way I'm going to decorate it is I'm going to decorate it with some small flowers. Unfortunately, I'm a bit of a hoarder when it comes to punches, and I have kept these retired punches. So petal punch, the old petal punch, and do you remember this one? Absolutely love this, and it makes the best flowers. Tiny, tiny little teeny flowers. So the best way to do that is to get your soft mat and bring back your old pieces of DSP. So here's a scrap of DSP that I cut for the other side, and I'm just going to cut some of those, and I'll probably have one more of those. Yeah, like that, and then just maybe have two of the bigger ones. Put that to one side. And I've also found the best way to actually make the flowers, believe it or not, is with the bottom half of your pokey tool. So I simply push down like this as hard as I can. Same with the big ones. And they come up in these great flowers. They do relax a little bit after time, but nothing major, because as you can see with these ones, they've still kept their shape really lovely. If I put that up there, you'll see that they've got definite definition. And I simply stick these down with a glue dot. I'm going to start off with a couple of small ones. I found the best way is to take the glue dot off, pop it where you want it to be, take your flower, stick it on, do that again, perfect. Now what I have found is that the great way to do the centres for these is to use some pearls. And I'm just going to lift those up to show you. So pearls make really great flower centres on a card like this. So let's get rid of the glue dots. So I just lift them up and pop them in the centre. Now I'm not going to put one in every one because that uses up a lot of pearls, but definitely if it would just go in the centre, that would be great. Push it down. If it flattens your flower, just pull it back up again like so. And for the bigger one, I'm going to find a middle-sized pearl and pop that in. There we go. And I'll just keep on doing that until I'm happy that I've got enough pearls. Okay, so that is I'm not really sure what this card is called. It's some kind of split triangle fold card. That's what I'm going to call it. But as you can see, really easy to make and quite effective. And what you could do, I'm thinking now that I've done two, is that I might put a belly band around this one to keep it flat. It does slightly pop up at the side, but it does stand up really nicely. If I can kind of show you like that. So they pop up nicely and stay upright. They go in a normal kind of C6 envelope. Yeah, really pleased with those, very pretty and really fun to make. Hope you've enjoyed it. Come back again and look at Stampin' Squirrels. We're always posting new videos and we really welcome your company. Thanks for watching everyone. Bye bye for now.